So good afternoon again, Gators. This is Jason Holliday, Associate Director of the Gator Success Center at the University of Houston downtown. And we want to thank you for logging in to Module 10. And Module 10 is basically being exam savvy. We know that at the past and going from spring break till now, that we've had many tests throughout the semesters. And we know that in just a short couple of weeks, we were going to be having our final exams. And I think that the A Game has been a great book to give so many different lessons and different tips to different people about how to bring their grades up in their class. Everything from going to class always to never sitting in the cheap seats, and learning material at all levels. And right here, we're at the final step. And we're going to be talking about how to be exam savvy. Everything on how to study for an exam and just, what to kind of look out for when we're taking these exams. If you have a professor that likes to use multiple choice questions and Scantrons type of exams, those are going to be the things that we're going to be discussing in this video. So we want you to kind of stay tuned and learn about how to be exam savvy according to the A Game. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. It's talking about it being exam savvy. Slide 2 basically states that exam stress affects most students in varying ways. It is important to manage this stress and find little ways of helping to eliminate the risk of burnout. This is very true. I know that when I was in undergrad, when we were having many exams and when it was coming up on final exam times, we've done a lot of things throughout the semester. Everything from different assignments that our professors have given, group projects to writing papers, and then having quizzes and tests throughout the semester. But what it's stating here in the A Game is that we want to try to eliminate the stress of going into the final exam season or just the exam season itself. Because a lot of people try to psych themselves out like, okay, my professor says that, we only have 2 exams in this class, in this particular course. And in order for you to pass this class, you need to have a passing grade on each of the exams and everything. And we have a tendency to psych ourselves out. But if we're studying our materials and we're kind of going through the things that we need to learn throughout the semester, then we'll be okay for the exam season. So what we want to try to do is to eliminate stress when we're going into these exams and making sure that we're studying our materials so that we can be prepared to take our exams and that we can make sure that we have the best outcome at the conclusion of when we take that test. So, okay, guys, let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that we need to do on our end to ensure that we're going to have a good grade in our exams. Make sure that when you're taking an exam that you're reading the instructions carefully and that you're going through the test to ensure that everything is covered. So read the instructions carefully. If the question asks you to make sure that you're answering the question in its entirety, make sure that you answer that as stated in the instructions. We're going to talk about what the book says, and it basically says that there are some deadly habits and the most common test-taking blunders. It says the most common test-taking blunders include not reading the question carefully, attempting to answer each question in the order presented even when stuck, making Scantron marking errors, and forgetting to look on the back of the last page for any exam questions. We have to make sure that on our end, that when we're taking in an exam, that there's nothing that we can do, any kind of mistakes, any kind of blunders, or anything that would cause us or penalize us for not making the highest grade possible on the test. Many professors, many faculty, staff members who have administered exams have seen little mistakes that students have made in the past that have cost them in the end. Just in the book, it states that Dr. Sufka, who wrote the book, The A Game, he said that just last term, a student did not answer the last 8 questions on the final exam because there were questions on the back of the page. So when we're going into the exam season, anytime you're taking a test, like I said, make sure that you're reading the questions in entirety and ensure that you're looking throughout the entire test that there's no questions on the back of the page and that whatever format that they want you to answer the exam in, that you're following those instructions to its entirety. Trust me, if you're able to not make these common mistakes, these deadly habits, these blunders, you're going to get a good grade on your exam. Guys, so we already talked about some of the deadly habits and some kind of mistakes and blunders that we've made in the past. Let's go ahead and talk about some game changers. How are we going to be able to get our A game up and do really well in our exams? So if you've already prepared for an exam and you've already studied all throughout the week, you've taken 2 weeks to prepare, if you studied the night before combined with those weeks of preparation for your exams, the game changer is to go through the exam and answer the questions that you already know immediately. You've already studied the material on all levels. You've already prepared. You've already studied. So if you see a question that you already know the answer to, go ahead and attack that question, and so that you know that you have the confidence that you've gotten a good grade or you've gotten the correct answer for that particular question. The more questions that you know the answers to, the better the confidence that you're going to have that you're going to do well in the exam, and it's a reflection of the things that you studied on the test. So make sure that you're answering the questions that you already know, that you already have an answer for, and attack those questions to the best of your ability. So guys, we already talked about you've already prepared for an exam and you've already answered the questions that you already know off of the bat. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the other things that we may see on exams, whether that's answering tough questions, long answers, numbers, typos, and second guessing ourselves. So let's say that you have, when you're on an exam and you have a tough question. Well, what do? One of the things that we want you to do is to make sure that you're fully understanding what the question is asking. Go back and reword and reread the question to see exactly what is the question asking to its entirety. When you're going back and doing that, you're able to get an understanding of exactly what is going on, and that you're able to eliminate any kind of answers that you don't know, that you're able to eliminate any answers that may be incorrect once you read it again. So we want you to get a full understanding of what the question is asking and eliminate those obvious wrong answers and concepts that you aren't familiar with. In the book, it states that let's assume that there will be a situation where you have to go back through the exam to tackle one of those harder questions. Well, what do? One of the first things to do is to completely understand what the question is asking. You may want to reword the question, and he says, I generally do this by asking, what is the question asking me to do? Next is to scratch out choices that are obviously incorrect. We call those foils in the business of exam writing. Again, if you've done your work and you encounter a term you've never seen, that is not a correct answer. So go ahead and scratch it out. So how many are you down to? 2? Well, that is better than 3 or 4. Just think about this. On a 5-item multiple choice question where you don't answer the question, you have 20% chance of getting it correct. Getting that down to 3 choices and your odds are up to 33%. Eliminate one more and you have a 50% chance of getting it correct. So now here you are for additional tips, so that should help. So just make sure that when you're in an exam and then you're having tough questions, that you go back, ask yourself, look at the question, reword it, and see exactly what the question is asking. And also, if you see some of the answers that are given in that multiple choice questions are already incorrect, go ahead and scratch it out. Gives you a better chance of answering the question and getting you to jog your memory of the material that you've already read, and you'll be able to answer that question with the correct one. So with different multiple choice questions, right? If you see that there's a question that's on there and we're talking about ways to be exam savvy, if you see that there is a long answer on there, try to go ahead and pick that answer in a lineup. Typically, longer answers that have detailed information may be the correct one, and you're most likely to get that question correct. So what we want to try to get you to do is just to kind of reread the information as we said earlier, but also make sure that you're looking at the information that was given and that you see an answer that is long, detailed, that discusses a lot of things that you've already talked about in or studied in your material. You want to go ahead and choose that one because typically the longer answers are the correct ones. So guys, we're going to be talking about additional ways to be exam savvy. We're going to be covering numbers, typos, and second guessing. Straight out of the book on page 68, Dr. Suka states that another thing I teach college professors is that when using numbers in answers, I order them from low to high or high to low for clarity, and be certain that the correct answer has an equal chance to appear in any position. While new teachers may put the numbers in order, they rarely place the correct answer in the lowest or highest spot. So if you happen to be stuck on this type of question, throw out the high and low and pick in the middle. This raises your odds of getting a correct answer from 20 to 25% to 33 or 50%. So essentially what he is saying, if there is an exam that you're taking that is a multiple choice and you have an A, B, C, or D, that the questions possibly, the answer that is possibly would not be in the A or D spot, unless you know the answer is 100% that correct answer. If it's in the A or D spot, it's typically in the middle. So if you happen to be stuck on a question, and let's just say that you don't know that answer, and all the material that you studied, it's not, that question was not in the material that you studied, that the higher percentage of that question would, the answer would probably be in the B or C spot. Typically, that's what he's saying. So you have a higher percentage of getting that correct answer by not choosing A or D. So that's just a strategy that states in the A Game book. Let's go on to talk about typos, right? So if you're seeing an exam and it basically says that grammatically incorrect answers are usually wrong. If you're seeing an exam and you're looking at a question and the question definitely has a typo in it, in the answer, you know that that's going to be wrong. So don't choose an answer that has a grammatical error or a typo. Just go ahead, scratch that out, and put the correct answer in that position. The last thing is that it's talking about second guessing, and it says that only times you should second guess or change your answer is that if you know the alternative is absolutely correct and you know that this choice you initially selected is absolutely wrong. If you've studied all of your material and you've studied all of the things that are going to be on this exam, and you know that the answer is A, but you second guess yourself and you say it's D or whatever, do not change your answer. Go with your gut instinct or whatnot, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that that your answer is A, go ahead with A. Now, what it's saying in the book is saying that the only time that you should change your answer is that if you absolutely know that the other answer is correct. Maybe you were feeling that the answer is B, but D is the one that you remember from the things that you studied. Go ahead and select D, because you've already prepared for an exam, you've already studied, and without a shadow of a doubt, you know that that is D. So go ahead, select that answer, and you'll be able to get the correct answer on that. Remember that these are some of the strategies that you want to do. And when you're second guessing yourself, it's only going to make things kind of difficult for you. So make sure that you go with your gut instinct and you know exactly that that material was the things that you studied for, and not to second guess yourself. Hey guys, right now it's TED Talk time, and guys, you're kind of in for a treat. You're going to be hearing from a prestigious, well-known surgeon here in America. His name is Dr. Atul Gawande. He happens to serve as a surgeon and a doctor at Brigham and Women's in Boston, Massachusetts, and also a professor for the medical school at Harvard College. We want you to watch this video and kind of get some inspiration, some tips on why and the importance of getting a coach. A coach can do a lot of great things for people, and the transformations for people who receive feedback from a coach and whatnot is going to help the difference of how you started and the way that you're going to end. So please watch this video. If you can, go onto YouTube and search "want to get great at something, get a coach," and this is the video we'll be reviewing. So go ahead, pause this video, head over to YouTube, search Dr. Atul Gawande's video, and we'll be going back and talking back a little bit later about some of the great things that was discussed in this video. So hit pause right now and then head over to YouTube and research this video. Hey guys, that was an amazing video. It was very informative, educational, and inspirational at the same time. Some of the biggest things that we can get from this video, it was talking about the importance of coaching, and just talking about if you want to get great at something, if you want to get better at something, you need to have a coach, right? You need to have somebody that's in your corner, that's basically telling you some things for you to get better in certain situations. Not to critique you, to criticize you and say, hey, you're not doing a good job, but basically to have somebody that is a resource, that's a friend, or somebody that is a coach, or somebody that can push you to be better and to achieve greater and go to higher heights than you ever did before. So let's talk about some of the takeaways from the video, right? Basically, it talked about in the beginning was the first American football game between Yale and Harvard way back in the 1870s, and this was the first American football game. And the differences between Yale and Harvard is that Yale hired a head football coach for their team and Harvard didn't. And over the next 3 decades, Harvard only won 4 times in total. And when they did, they hired a coach, right? Why is a coach necessary? Well, for number one, you don't recognize the issues you're facing when you're in the thick of things. And if you don't know what you're doing wrong, you can never fix it. If you don't know that you have an issue, or if you're doing something wrong, how are you going to be able to fix it? You're thinking that you're doing something really great, but in actuality you're doing something wrong. How would you be able to fix that? Having a coach, having somebody to tell you or to kind of give you some pointers on what you can do better can make the world a difference, right? Great thing at the University of Houston downtown, we have some amazing academic success coaches at your fingertips through the Gator Success Center at the University College that can push you and can help you and guide you to know what resources that we have, but to also know about your particular situation and to also help you to do better in your classes, whether that's taking exams, whether that's something that you need to get involved in on campus. We have those resources, and that's one of the benefits to having a success coach or a coach in particular. So what do great coaches do? Basically, your external eyes and ears by providing a more accurate picture of your reality and break your actions down and help you to build them back up and help you build on your strengths and address your weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with someone coming and talking to you about some areas that you need to get better in. If you're weak in an area, a coach will help you to get better in those areas so you can strengthen those things, so those weaknesses will be turned into strengths. They also want to build your actions down and help you to bring them back up. So let's say that you're taking an exam and you're in a course or whatnot. If you have a coach, an academic success coach or a peer mentor or somebody that's saying, hey, well, you did this for your exam. Next time I would do this. I would highlight and study this type of information so that you can get better. These are all what great success coaches or great coaches do. And the only thing that people want to do in these situations is to make you a better student and better overall in your courses. We want you all to be exam savvy, and that we want you all to finish out strong. But finishing out strong is making sure that your assignments are completed to its entirety. So please do not forget that there are some assignments that are due this week. So number one, we need to make sure that we're taking our quiz that is associated with module 10. That'll be worth 10 points, and that you also get in your self-reflection number 4. That's also another 10 points. Make sure that you're completing these assignments to its entirety and that you can get the best outcome for your class. Hey Gators, thank you so much for watching Module 10, being exam savvy. On behalf of the Gator Success Center, we want to say good luck to you all and have a great remainder of the semester. And if you're having troubles with your exams or anything in your classes, feel free to contact us at the Gator Success Center with Dr. Gemma Caesar, myself, Jason Holiday, your awesome and amazing academic success coaches, Tiangeli Leon and Beatrice Torres. The whole staff in the UC is here for you. So we want to say good luck to you. Have a great remainder of the semester, and go Gators. Take care.